So I thought I'd make a video on it since not many people talked about it besides blaming it on Jorge, Flaco Guapo, and some small YouTubers, despite being such an interesting topic that I thought deserved a lot of attention. But anyways, let's go to Syracuse, New York, the location of the most mysterious pirate station.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lucky 7. Syracuse is a new kid of the block, bringing you the finest movies from Hollywood. You'll get to experience something that you've never seen before. Lucky 7 reaches about half the Syracuse area. If you're watching, you're part of that half. Lucky 7, Lucky 7.
April 1978, Syracuse, New York, VHF Channel 7. It was just another average weekend. You're out here being curious about what's on TV tonight. You wouldn't tune in to Channel 7 as it aired, well, nothing. Except Static, my favorite show, the oldest TV show in fact. VHF Channel 7 wasn't assigned to any network, which meant you wouldn't receive anything on that frequency, except on April 14, when pirates somehow found a way to hack through the system and unleash the so-called the first pirate television station in the United States. It wasn't actually the first pirate station in the country, although it's safe to call it the first in New England, I guess. Oh wait, never mind, it's actually Lanesville TV. The station identified itself as Lucky 7 and was broadcast for one whole weekend from April 14 to 16. What you saw, again, was not the actual broadcast of Lucky 7. I had to do a shitty mock-up trying to simulate how the transmission went, kinda like what Barky did. He made a really good video on this, be sure to check it out. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. Curious viewers reported that they occasionally saw a man wearing a gas mask with the news as the supposed announcer. Then, there's a whole station ID of Lucky 7, whose logo was just a pair of dice being rolled to 7, accompanied by jingles sung by female choir. After that, you get to watch all the cool shit such as episodes of Star Trek in the Twilight Zone, as well as movies such as Rocky, and even corno movies such as Deep Throat. Damn, I bet y'all didn't see that coming. Who would have thought some dubstep gas mask guy would come up with such an awesome TV experience? But here's a more important question. Who are the people running the station? There's obviously somebody hiding behind that gas mask. Could be one of these three gas mask guys right here. But how did Lucky 7 operate? Like I said, they broadcast several Hollywood movies and popular TV shows, not to mention absolutely haram stuff which nobody thought would ever end up on TV at the time. The thing is, no one really knows. It has been nearly 5 decades and this case hasn't been solved yet, but sources have theorized that the station had something to do with Syracuse University, but for some reason, it wasn't your boring local uni station. Otherwise, why the hell would it air corno movies like Deep Throat? Maybe they needed to demonstrate two people feeling chemistry? But anyway, how the hell did they pull off this stunt? According to a blogger on radiodiscussions.com, word has it that it was the brainchild of some Syracuse University communication students who used some equipment normally used for a closed-circuit broadcast on Channel 7 on the university's cable system and simply found the necessary means to amplify the signal and send it on its merry way via a makeshift antenna cut for Channel 7. The signal was also the strongest in the neighborhood surrounding the university, so the biggest suspect of this whole thing has to be some communication students from the uni. You know, I'd consider applying there so I could gather some sort of information regarding the Lucky 7 incident. Oh wait, they had already graduated by that point. It's also worth noting that it could be possible that the station stole parts from WSTM to build Lucky 7, according to the then Assistant Chief Engineer, Gary Hartman, according to another Radio Discussions user, Rob Jason. That son of a bitch, according to Hartman, referring to one of the madmen behind Lucky 7. Television engineers have also stated that all the programming on the station could have been broadcast with relatively simple equipment, thus allowing the station to operate on low power, so all those bell-bottoms wearing punk rock enjoyers nearby could binge some free HBO for 2 nights. Before getting caught by the FCC, that is.
Well, it looks like we would have to leave the air indefinitely now. We hope you have enjoyed some of the freshest Hollywood hits of the time. Thank you for joining Lucky 7 and supporting us for the last 25 hours of operation. Hopefully you can continue serving Syracuse if we don't get fucked by the FCC in the nearby future.
Obviously, the FCC were pissed at the ones who ran the station. Surprisingly, people never complained about the naughty stuff that the station aired, and instead, they complained about the station itself after it went off the air indefinitely to be never seen again. It was like, isn't Channel 7 supposed to be nothing, or is it actually a new station in town? At the time, there were actually 4 main TV stations licensed to Syracuse. People were only served a very few local stations, even fewer than the entire deck of the Hyperscan. But hey, at least there were a fuck ton of game consoles back then. Since there was usually nothing on Channel 7, curious viewers were glued to their idiot boxes to see this crazy stunt by a bunch of college students experimenting with showing romantic chemistry on TV. Anyway, the FCC stated that the penalty for all of this is either a $10,000 fine or a year in jail, or both, according to FCC engineer John I. Timer, who also stated that it would be the first case of formal pirating on the airwaves. Like I said, Lucky 7 could have been broadcast using basic equipment, such as a VCR, an antenna, and a few others. Nowadays, it's easier to form your own pirate station by just— No! I don't want to be in hot water. Please don't try this anywhere, even at home. The FCC later began an investigation of Lucky 7, hoping to catch the culprits. There's also more info unfold as I searched the wide ocean known as the internet while making this video. Duh. 2 netizens on Google Groups, that too chatting even before Google existed, it was Deja News back then, had stated that the students borrowed a modulator from the Newhouse School of Communications and, as they told NPR, billed their transmitter for about $50. But despite all of that, the case has never been solved as of today. Why is this? Even though it seems very easy to solve with the information provided, meaning they would have been caught in a matter of days, the pirates somehow managed to outsmart the FCC. A report by Syracuse University student newspaper, the Daily Orange, stated that the project involved 2 to 25 people. Pretty normal for a small, low-power TV station that didn't bother getting a license. But here's the question. Why did they create Lucky 7 in the first place? If you were to ask me, who has done a lot of research on the topic, then I'd say the answer is the same if you were to ask me how many unicorns live in Wakanda. But it's possible that they did this as an experiment. The 70s were the time when cable television, as we know it today, was in its infancy. Did you know that Nickelodeon was actually launched in 1977 as a test channel on a Columbus cable operator that pretty much only aired Pinwheel for 14 hours a day? Now, Pinwheel wasn't what the channel was really called, but it was often labeled as such, as it's the only thing it ever broadcast. Now, it's not even 50 years old, and it's already pretty much airing SpongeBob SquarePants all day, at least in the US. They went back to their roots, I guess. But anyways, these students might have created Lucky 7 to combat pay TV. Why even bother paying like $10 a month to watch Hollywood classics or popular TV shows when they can already be aired on free TV? Lucky 7 could have also been an experiment for a different reason. Maybe they wanted to form a TV station on their own, but without the hassle to get a license from the FCC. They wanted to protest in some form. Nowadays, a lot of people pirate content because of the ridiculous prices of cable TV and streaming services. Entertainment shouldn't really cost that much in my opinion. Now, despite making national news and having a whole fucking Wikipedia article, there's absolutely no recorded footage of Lucky 7, at least uploaded anywhere. TV recorders were a thing back in the late 70s, so somebody out there might have recorded the whole thing. Even the pirates might have done it too, but because they didn't want to be busted by the FCC, they never released the recordings to the public. Pirate TV continued to exist in the United States, with a few other stations being opened. Elsewhere during that time, specifically in Western Europe, there had been movements of pirate television stations to combat the state monopoly on TV. I'll be making videos on those sometime later, if I don't end up slacking for no particular reason, that is. In some other places, such as Cuba, right below Florida, networks pirated a lot of American content since they can't import it due to sanctions. Not even in a full-on communist state can escape from Tom and Jerry. They even had a knockoff version of Tom and Jerry in the Soviet Union. After Lucky 7, however, there have been some notable cases of television hijackings, as well as mysteries. One example is the Max Headroom incident that happened in 1987. This was when hackers wanted to do some classic trolling. If there's something to learn here, which is nothing really since this isn't an educational video, otherwise you'd see this in your school played by your history teacher for some reason, then pirating is a pretty cool way to protest against arrogant media corporations being pieces of shit in general. Anyway, That's all for this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and instead of ending this video like usual, I'll do it how a typical TV station would sign off in the 1970s. Take your floral tops and bell bottoms off and put on some pajamas instead because you'll be going to bed, obviously, unless you stay up all night listening to some good old Beatles or disco bangers in your bedroom decorated with peace symbols and colorful patterns. Anyway, we're going to go off the air as usual. We'd probably go 24/7 if it weren't for the FCC requiring us to sign off. Oh wait, we might not be in America or anything. But anyway, this is INE TV channel 69, located in the Fuck the Vietnam War building at 420 Avenue in Bell Bottom Town. This is the 1970s, bitch, so obviously there's going to be a lot of references to the fashion of the decade. We'd put some seizure-inducing moving color patterns with typical 70s colors that'll hypnotize you into watching us forever instead of putting this boring typical 70s logo of this station, but we don't want to stand different, otherwise other stations would bully us to shit. All terrible 70s jokes aside, and once again we'll be going off the air because authorities will hold us in gunpoint and force us to do so if we don't sign off for the night. We might be playing some hardcore corno for you to goon all night if you're naughty as fuck if we didn't have to do this fucking thing every single night. All useless yapping aside, we'll be airing your favorite program shortly after this. That is the classic test card that we'll be watching all night if you don't sleep. Too fucking bad. We don't gotta say in this. Anyway, no national anthem because we're unpatriotic traitors because we disagree with fighting the Vietnamese in a war that America will lose anyway. Oh wait, I'm not even American, why am I saying these things? So for real this time, have a good night. You are still up? Well, looks like you aren't missing today's episode of Test Card after all, so here we go.